Language learning involves engaging with text, and many tasks in the process involve matching items, putting items into categories, and ordering them. In Xerti, these pedagogic effects can be achieved in a variety of ways, but we're going to look at 3 page types that are easy to use, and another page type which is a little more complex to use, but which is easy once you've set up a template. We're going to start with matching tasks. The most obvious page type to use is matching texts. The word texts is used here in its broadest sense, so you can match pairs of words, you can match words with definitions, clauses, sentences, and you can even match images. With matching texts, items are presented one by one and dragged into position on the screen. After each drag, the next item is presented. Matching texts does not make particularly good use of space, and you really need to have the draggable objects and the drag zones visible on screen at the same time. So for practical purposes, you can't really have more than 5 matches on one page. When it comes to authoring, matching text is easy and intuitive to use. You give a title to the page and write instructions and feedback at the top level. And then you add sentences. So sentences are simply pairs of matching items. Part 1 appears on the left of the screen, and the draggable object is part 2. If you're matching parts of a sentence, then right justifying part 1 helps ensure that the matches look like sentences rather than 2 columns of phrases or clauses. You can add hints if you want to, but if you don't, remember to delete the default text. If you create one match with all the settings you want, and then copy and edit it, you'll save time and improve consistency of approach. You can use the Sortable Grid page type to create a similar effect, but notice that all the draggable objects are visible and positioned randomly. I prefer the Sortable Grid format to matching texts. In addition, notice how Sortable Grid makes better use of space. You could have 6 to 8 matches on one page for a comfortable learner experience. When you are authoring in Sortable Grid, you create a grid with 2 columns and you make column 1 a fixed column, which means the items in this column are presented in the order they have been created in and cannot be dragged. So we've added the fixed cells optional property, and you can see here that column 1 has been fixed. For a guide on how to author with the Sortable Grid page, open the Xerti Learning object from the link in the description below and download the guide from the Sortable Grid page. The Categories page type has some similarities with matching texts, because again the draggable objects are presented one by one. However, you can drag an object to any position in any column. This means that you can have as many draggable objects as you want within reason. You can also have as many categories as you want, but in practice, for aesthetic reasons, this is likely to be between 2 and 4. Again, the Categories page is quick and easy to author in. After giving a title to the page and adding instructions and feedback, you can create categories, and then you create items within those categories. The last task type we're going to look at is one in which you ask learners to put items into a certain order. There are various ways you can do this in Xerte, but the easiest way is to create a vertical list of items that can be dragged around using the Sortable Grid page type again. You can either create a grid with one column, as we have here, or you can create one with two columns, one of which is fixed, and the cells marked 1, 2, 3, etc. You can either have a task with one correct answer, or if you delete the text in the check button, you can make it an open task with no one correct answer. So, to summarize, for a matching task, use either matching texts or Sortable Grid. Matching text is easy to author in, but Sortable Grid makes better use of space and possibly a better learner experience. For a categorizing task, use categories. The categories are presented in columns and you drag items into each column. And then finally, for a reordering task, use Sortable Grid with one or two columns. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video useful, please add a like. If you post any comments or questions, I will respond within 2 or 3 days. You can also subscribe to this channel to see more videos about Xerte.